Greetings, I'm Pillar Nexus Dancing Gladiator, and today's a special presentation of some opinions of mine. An idea that's been floating around in my head lately called a romantic range, of just where I think certain ideas fall upon a certain range, and also at the end, my sweet spot for the kind of romance that I like in fiction. Firstly, there's realistic. It's, stuff that actually happens in the real world, and, not always sunshine and rainbows, but not always, the worst, And it's kind of the baseline of where things start out because, this reality is reality. I know fiction likes to give us fairy tales and horror stories, but it's important to know what happens in the real world before we go from there into expanding upon that in fiction. And then there's classy. It's the ideal. It's the fairy tale. A lot more good than bad. Bad things are likely in the past instead of present, but the focus is on idealism and all the good things and um, being respectful about it too. Like you probably won't see like too much detailed intimacy and all that, or it's just handled in a way that's reasonable and respectful. It feels nice, but sometimes it can be handled too nice, and it may not be as interesting as the realistic romance. And then opposite classy is trashy. Less about romance, more about the other stuff, if you know what I mean. If it didn't have the plot and character development, it would probably be more of an adult film. But it's more of the disrespectful stuff, substance, more substance abuse, and a lot more of the bad stuff. But in a way that it's still maybe a bit relatable. And even with all that bad stuff, there's either some silver lining or a light at the end of the tunnel or something to get out of the worst of it and maybe find something good at the end. And then there's past the point of good, too good to last and ends badly and tragic, like Star-Crossed Lovers badly. This it glorifies that whole idea of together in death, or if not death, then still ends with a lot of loss, but still hope. That they might be in exile or they might be poor, but they still find something. It's, it's weirdly poetic and yet sad, and it's like it's love to the point that it can't last. Like the world is such a terrible place that the only way to find love is to die for it. It's like what the hell? And it might make for interesting poetry, but it's kind of depressing. But it could be worse. There's horror, which is beyond the physical into visceral and may involve figurative or even literal monsters. Hope may be hard to find or non-existent for those seeking escape. And it's just cruel. It's just you know abuse and violence and murder and death and substances and terror, and it's just I no thank you. um, the one example I look at is like Diabolic Lovers, and for crying out loud, why? I just and the real sad thing is, you know, there are some real relationships that have hit that point, and that's what really scares the crap out of me. Is anything that goes this far. So, where's my personal taste? It's between realistic and classy. Just reasonable enough to feel like it could actually happen, yet respectful and idealistic enough to feel encouraging and inspiring. Because I want to believe in love. That's worth the effort of going out there and meeting someone and building a relationship up to that point and having things just go nice. And if you're wondering, Pillar, you talk about games, why are you talking about romance? Because romance is in games. I'm starting to get into visual novels again, and there's other games that feature relationships and stuff, and I almost want to go back to Persona 3 and finish that game if I ever got a PS2 again and deal with the social links and all that. Um, but it's just an idea that's been rolling around in my head. I've been wanting to get it out. I figured today was a good enough day as any to get it out there. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have any ideas of your own, let me know. Let me know in the comments, and uh, I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening. This has been Pillar Nexus, the romantic gladiator. And we'll see you next time.